Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a guide to playing Pharah for beginners with some advanced tips here and there, as well as some specific things to learn for use on King's Row, which is one of Pharah's best maps. Not only that, but we'll also be going over some gameplay that I have and talking about some things that you'll want to do and some things that I still have to work on personally because I'm obviously not the greatest Pharah player on the planet, but I do consider myself decent enough to give out some pointers. So without any further ado, let's get right into the game. So here we are in the game, and I apologize, the mic quality is going to be a little bit different here, but here we are, obviously, you can see in King's Row. Now, King's Row, I think, is one of the best, if not the best map for Pharah, just in general. So it's ideal if you start right here. You're going to want to put yourself in a custom match. Not sure if I can see the settings right here. Settings, right. So you're going to want to put yourself into like a custom game. Modes, skirmish, respawn time scaler, that doesn't really matter. King's Row, or whatever map you're going to want to practice on. And for Pharah, you're really just going to want to put concussive blast cooldown time down to 0. Don't bother touching your jump jet because there is a reason you want to keep that cooldown, just so you can practice your hovering and make it feel very natural to hover and use your jump jet with its proper cooldown. So, obviously one of the first things when you are arriving at King's Row is that there might be some hit scan right there, and that could be a little bit of a problem when you step right out of the front door. Hopefully you'll have some sort of anchor tank like an Orisa or a Reinhardt that you can hide behind just for a little while before you get to this choke. Now, this choke, there's not really much you can do about it other than try to stay behind the wall, use this as a natural cover, poke your head up a little bit, pop a couple rockets and stuff like that. Other than that though, you don't want to keep yourself up there for too high. Obviously there's a spot right there where there could be hit scan, and this is an especially dangerous spot if there are hit scan right there, or if there really is anybody with medium range like McCree or Soldier that can hit you from either of those locations. So I know a lot of people think, yes, I'm gonna get right over, sit right on here. No, that's not a particularly good idea. So if your team does get past the choke, obviously your team's gonna go this way, you're not gonna go the other way unless you're like unless you're extremely coordinated. You could go up onto the high ground, your entire team could, but I doubt I doubt all members of your team could actually bridge the gap to the other area. So what your team is most likely going to do is you're going to go over to here, and you're going to notice, if you hadn't noticed already, that there's going to be hit scan probably up there. That's the most popular place for hit scan, either a Widow, a McCree, or a Soldier. So fighting against hit scans as a Pharah, it's not a lot of fun when you start playing as Pharah. So when I started playing as Pharah a couple months ago, obviously playing against hit scans is kind of the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world when you're playing on console, so if you're playing on console right now, you're going to have it a little bit easier because hit scan, obviously, they do not have as pinpoint accuracy as they do on PC here. But, again, it's not the best matchup in the world. Now, Pharah versus McCree, Pharah versus Soldier, and Pharah versus Widowmaker are more of it's a much more balanced matchup when you really know what you're doing as Pharah. So, if your team's going this way, the hit scan is probably going to want to follow your team with their shots. So they're going to be hitting the Rhine Shield, they're going to be hitting, maybe trying to hit people behind the Rhine Shield. Now what you're going to do, you're not going to want to be standing behind the Rhine Shield at this point, because your Rhine Shield's probably taken quite a beating. You don't want to break, you don't want to die standing behind your Rhine Shield. So one of the things you can do is take this right here. Now, when there's a hit scan up there, they may or may not notice you taking this route. If they do notice you taking this route and start shooting at you, try to, obviously duck behind here. But if they don't notice it, at first they don't notice you fast enough, what I do like to do is you can either, try to sneak your way up or whatever, and then jump jet, pop a couple rockets and stuff. Hopefully 2 rockets and a melee can make short work of anybody up here. Of course, if Soldier starts to put down his healing circle thing, his biotic thing, he's gonna be regaining a lot of health very quickly. So as far, it might take 3 rockets, maybe even take 4 rockets if you're just still learning as far, you're not getting all those direct rockets exactly where you should be. But another one of the things that you can do other than try to sneak up is one of the things that I like to do, which is get some blast behind you and then back up, and then 2 rockets in a melee can usually kill someone. So that's what you're gonna want to do when you're facing against hitscans. Obviously, for Volskaya and in several other maps, you can use that just fine, as long as it's not obviously too high. See up here, that's I think too high for you to want to actually attempt this. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just wrong. Right. So you can attempt that, but obviously it's a much smaller window. And if you have a bad internet connection like I did right then you're gonna have a little bit of a problem. But most people don't have that problem. Anyway, so you gotten past the choke point here. You killed your hit scan that was trying to slaughter your entire team. Everything's looking alright. Now, when you're up here, as Pharah, you do want to take a whole bunch of flanks. Flanking is your best friend as Pharah. I'll show you that there's a flank up on King's Row specifically that you do want to take a good amount of the time. But while you're up here, obviously going around the back and popping several rockets is also a good defending position for Pharah when someone's on the point, because it gives you a lot of cover here, and the only flank you have to worry about is the one down there, which people may or may not try to take depending on really what rank you're in. I don't think you can count on anybody really in gold or below, not in, like, instead of going through the doorway, going around and going up the flank and such. So most of the time you'll be pretty safe here as Pharah, obviously, unless somebody goes up the flank there, but again, you won't have to count on that in the lower ranks, perhaps the higher ranks. But then again, higher ranks like to come in as a team anyway. So yeah, it's a good solid defending position as well. When you're coming back, you can go ahead and pop your rockets. You can take cover behind this area right here, just the ledge, and you can hopefully capture that point quite easily on attack or defend it effectively on defense. Now, when that payload is moving, once you do capture that payload and that payload is moving along, usually right here is maybe where there might be sort of a shattered defense. The enemy team will try to gather whoever's left, probably like 3 or 4 people who are just making their way back to the point but didn't really want to get on the point. Usually this is kind of where they'll stand, and it's kind of an easy area to get past. Shattered defense, you don't have to do anything really special, but the most special area in the mid part of King's Row is obviously with these parts up here. So these areas, I just messed up there. So you can essentially fly forever. You jump jet, you get up there, you sort of let your fuel, you tap your spacebar, you let your fuel go down just a little bit, and then you try not to hit the ground, and then you can jump jet your way back up, you can boost your way back up here. Now obviously you're not going to be doing what I'm doing here, just flying around for the fun of it. What you're going to want to do is I'm going to get back over here. So when this payload comes around the corner, and there are 2 ways that you can really take as Pharah. One of the ways, obviously, when the payload gets over here, you don't really want to be here. Like, never really ever stand here. This is a bad spot to stand, alright? And the reason for that is, obviously, you see that high ground up there. Widowmakers love to stand right there when they're defending. And by the time you get here, obviously the enemy team is going to have their defense rock solid to back up to their full 6 members trying to defend the spot. So while your team is sort of making their way over to that corner, you can sort of send yourself over to here, go up and try to kill the Widowmaker. Obviously, if the Widowmaker has quick reflexes, that will not be very good for you. She might see you, she's like looking down here but still staying aware. She might see you over here, might be able to get a headshot once you boost your way up. Now, one of the things that you can do really easily as Pharah and really effectively is you can sort of send yourself up here, get over the little areas here, hopefully Widowmaker hasn't seen you, and then boom, boom in a melee. And usually that can take care of your Widowmaker problem pretty easily. Now, another area that a couple of hitscans do like to stand when you're getting sort of over to that area, they do like to stand here. You can see why this is obviously kind of a problem. So if you're standing, you're kind of flying around, McCree and Soldier, Widowmaker, because McCree and Soldier I think can get up here through the back entrance there. They're going to just have fun shooting you down, and it's not fun for you, but for them it's just an easy kill. So obviously going through here, trying to pop rockets, that is one thing you can do. But once again, I'm going on top of here if they haven't seen you yet. Going over, start shooting your rockets. Hopefully they didn't have enough reaction time to get you, and you can totally destroy them. And when you have your team sort of over here, you got in the second point, and you're good to go over to the third point. Usually there might be a team fight over here. You may or may not win this one. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. Now, it's not something that you see too often, but in the higher ranks what you will see is potentially Widowmaker up here. And this is an excellent spot for Widowmaker. See, okay, if you're standing right here, look how much you can see. Look how much of this lane that you can see. There is a ton of space here for you to be shooting people. And what's even better, I just tested this right now, is that your bullets actually do go through these chains. So even if you have to shoot someone through the chains, you can definitely do that. But look how much you can see here. Now, as Pharah, what I've seen and what I actually do sometimes, I'm not perfect, is what I do go up here occasionally on the high ground, and it's more or less, it's alright. It's not a great idea, because once you're up here, obviously anybody, say a Diva or a Widowmaker, Hanzo, Genji, anybody can really get up here, and it's not a great area because you're confined, and you might get a little bit of splashback damage or splash damage hitting yourself when you shoot Diva in this area, or really just shooting anybody who climbs up here. So instead of really heading up and over to here, you could go down through here, jump jet, and use your ultimate. That's something you can do, and it's also something that the enemy team doesn't always expect you to do, because just going through here, you're kind of expected to be with your team. But obviously, if your team is going around this corner, there might be a Widowmaker up here, there might be somebody up here. It's not really a great idea for you to want to go up there or around this, and obviously to go around underneath. Of course, if there's nobody up there and there's nobody up there, you're kind of okay in this area. It's not the greatest area. Obviously, you can see that there's a lot of space, a lot of open space here. You kind of funneled in here, and they can just shoot at you from a ton of angles. So you do want to keep yourself maybe up here, which gives you a good amount of coverage from anybody that would be over there if you want to back up. And there's also this sneaky little escape route down here if you ever need to escape. And that's kind of the best for King's Row that I have here. Obviously, there are a whole bunch of other things that I do in gameplay that I'll be analyzing. I have a little bit of gameplay with mid-air shots, stuff like that. You do want to practice your mid-air shots, and it's not really something you can do with the bots in the training room. It's something you'll have to get over time, but definitely you can work on your mid-air shots, and I'll go more into detail about that in a couple of seconds. Oh, also one more thing is, if you're playing on console, you will have probably the hardest time in the world hitting mid-air shots, and it's not really something that can be improved upon unless you have like ridiculous sensitivity, which I did have ridiculous sensitivity when I played on console. So I do know both sides of the stories here when it comes to the Overwatch game. In total, I know how it is to play on console, I know how it is to play on PC. And console, obviously, it's not a lot of fun trying to hit those mid-air shots, but they can be done if you practice hard enough, but it's a safer bet to not even try, really. So if someone is flying through the air, like say a Widowmaker who just grappled up into the air, it's not a safe bet to try to like shoot her or whatever. It's kind of a safer bet to wait for it to fall down and then shoot her. Obviously, a Widowmaker on console shooting up in the air, unless you are Janks on Widowmaker, who's a really good console Widowmaker. they're probably not going to be able to hit you a good amount of the time. So, yeah, moving on to the analyzing gameplay. So I hope you learned a lot from this little guide, and if you want to see more Pharah tips on all of the different maps in the future, let me know in the comments and by liking this video. And of course, if you don't want to miss those or any other new videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified for my next video. I have another tips video coming out in the future, so be on the lookout for that as well. Best of luck trying out Pharah. This is Carter signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.